Michael, you may have witnessed in the last 2 weeks, 2 articles came out. One in horse racing that brought it back to besmirch me from 2010. And then the Nashua Telegraph did it with FRM. 2 weeks apart from both articles from 2010. You know why? I'm getting close. We're getting close. You're going to see a hearing for the Finance Committee of New Hampshire about the reimbursement of FRM, the Ponzi scheme that was run by the state officials of the state, which corrupts the courts, the politicians, the Justice Department. We can turn this all around. I'm giving you a gentleman named Ted Little. You're going to see text at the end of this video that'll show you that he clearly says he worked for them. If he comes forward, we can put them all in jail. And we can get these people's money back. Now, this is already passed the Senate. I believe they're trying to pass this through to cover up, to turn around and not investigate the fact that it came from the Shaheens, that it came from McLean and the AG's office and the U.S. Attorney's office. They don't want you to see the depth of this corruption. I want you to pay particular attention to this hearing because I put them on notice that we're not just going to go away and we're going to insist on this investigation. Please watch this video.
The Attorney General's office continued to do nothing. The banking department continued to do their audits. They found more violations, violation after violation, and nothing. They sat back. So what does Scott Farah do when he sees that the banking department comes in and audits and he has all these violations and nothing happens? He says to himself, well, I just got a ticket to keep doing this for another 18 months. And what happens when the Jackie Stone thing is all over the news and in the TV and in the newspapers, and the AG's office doesn't come banging on his door, he says, oh, I just got another free pass. And banking comes back for an audit, and he gets another ticket for a free pass for another 18 months. And then it's the SkillMed situation with the Attorney General's office, and they don't come looking at him. He gets another free pass. He got a free pass all the way until he closed his own doors. Yeah. Banking didn't shut him down. The Attorney General's office didn't shut him down. He shut himself down. And he did so on a Friday night.
6th of November.
And on Monday morning, the banking department got a phone call from Farah's lawyer saying that they had closed the doors. The banking department didn't get up there until Tuesday. They got up on Tuesday. Commissioner Hildreth and Deputy Commissioner Fleury took the computers and brought them back to Concord. Mr. Fleury told us that they looked at each other and said, well, now what do we do with them? We don't know. We better bring them back. So they brought them back the next day, on Wednesday. Thursday was Veterans Day. Friday, the FBI finally arrives and locks the doors. Those doors have been unlocked for a whole week. Other people that rented space in that building were in and out on a constant basis. They were afraid they were going to be implicated in getting the scheme. They were moving all their stuff out. They were all over the FRM offices looking, rifling through things. Nobody secured the building. There's another criminal act that wasn't paid attention to. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Peter Hildreth didn't want to say, yes, these are legitimate mortgages. He wanted to say, no, they're securities. He didn't want the blame. He orchestrated his own cover-up, his own excuse. It worked. It worked. He got on the TV and said it's a Ponzi scheme.
I have never asked one thing from my government. I've served the military, I've paid my taxes, I've never taken a thing. I need you now, and so do others.
You just heard from Mr. McIlvaine. Do you think he was asking for too much? you know, serving his country, working his whole life and never asking for anything from his country. But he's asking for help now. And I'm going to see that he gets it. I want to take you back to Senator Jean Shaheen's campaign commercials. You know, the ones that she had her arm around the elderlies and the military. Well, here you go. You must have forgot these people. You created these victims. Why don't you put your arms around them?
Or whatever. I'm talking about 300 families. Their entire lives.
Your entire lives, past, present, and future. I think that your votes should be based, excuse me, on common sense and compassion for these people whose lives financially and otherwise were destroyed so badly that two actually took their own lives. Please do what should have been done years ago and vote yes to give these people their lives back. We have been in prison for the past 5.5 years and we are innocent. Listen to your conscience.
You know, my wife and I worked all our lives and never did anything but work. And it was supposed to be time to retire. I guess maybe that's completely up to you.
You wrote 30 minutes in here.
Well, I'll tell you, you just tell me to stop when you lose interest.
Most important thing is not
I'll be direct. My name's Mike Gill. I own a company in New Hampshire called the Mortgage Specialist. I found out, first, I've got a plan. We can make this simple. And I can tell you how to get their money back without costing you any money. Maybe clean the state up at the same time. All right? You've heard honest, hardworking people here. None of us question that. None of us question these aren't greedy investors. I'll tell you what did happen. I knew about FRM in 2007. I'm in the industry. I asked the questions. I asked Alex Walker, who at the time, well, we'll name names here too, by the way, was the president of Divine Millimat. I went to him and I said, I believe there's a Ponzi scheme going on. Alex Walker said directly, he was my personal attorney too. I was his, if you go to the website previous to me catching him, I was the only customer he referred to, world champion in horse race, equine law. All right? Personal friends. He would fly around the country with me. Turns out he said, Mike, don't be a martyr. I go, what are you talking about, Alex? He goes, you keep asking about this FRM, don't. I go, why not? I believe that this is what's happening. Yeah, but he goes, you don't know who's doing it. See, you heard what happened to them, but you don't know why. Turns out that they knew the FRM. Why do you think Hilbert's brother's on it? A coincidence? Come on. I confronted him, know what he said? Bill Shaheen's part of it. That's why they have protection. See? And he said, stay away from it. They asked Alex Walker to prosecute Hildreth. You know how Hildreth was going to take a walk? Because the whole prosecution was a joke. All set up. Walker was going to do it. He went out of state, some guy in Mass. You know what they said? Hildreth played Dungeons and Dragons 7 hours a day. He takes his retirement. That's how it happens. Baloney. He's in a one-bedroom apartment. I hired an investigator. Right. And I want to inform this court that, or this hearing, that I haven't lost one penny with FRA. Not a cent. But I can't understand morally how we know what I know and what most people in the state know and allow this to happen. They shouldn't be asking for their money. You should be apologizing and giving it to them back. We should question Bill Shaheen. Listen, I had text messages from a gentleman named Ted Little, who called out the officials of the state because he worked for them. You'll notice in the text message, he only threatened to murder my children. The FBI won't look at it. In fact, when I went to Bedford, they almost attacked me because they know. Let's think about what happened. Do you know how many times they lift the liens on property for these people? Where are the appraisers? The state was informed that the appraiser farm was using was corrupt. You knew who headed it off? Hildreth. You know who headed it off in the appraisal committee? Hildreth again. He was protecting Shaheen. That's why Farron and Dodd get arrested. Now let's see, who prosecuted him? U.S. Attorney Kakadas, who I talked to directly right across and told him I was putting him in jail. You can ask him. Guess what? He was the prosecutor. Who was the defense attorney? Mark Howard. Does anybody know who Mark Howard is? How about he was his business partner months before? Because if you're going to be corrupt, you better hope your friends are on the other side. No, that's a heck of a coincidence. When Hildreth's in court, he goes, if I go to jail, Governor Lynch goes with me. Do you think we should have asked him why? Right? They went after me because I knew in 7. And I knew in 8, and they went after me there. Telegraph just printed a story a couple of days ago when you were voting on the Senate to turn around and bring back an article in 10. You know why they went after me? Because I went after them. It's that simple. The implode, the whole thing. The AG's office is a cover-up. And that is Ayotte. And that is Delaney. And that's Foster now. I've been to them and talked to them directly. That's what's doing. This is a cover-up. If you give immunity. Here's an idea, right? Ted Little. I'm working with Washington right now. We're going through Pennsylvania and racing. Turns out, I uncovered one of the biggest RICO organized crimes in the country. They arrested 5 last week, another 4 tomorrow. Guess what? This is worse. And I got the FBI in Washington working on this now. They are going to come their day. And I'm telling you, here's how you get the money. Wait, McLean runs the AG's office. Did you know Ayotte come from McLean? You know Foster came from McLean. Did you know Delaney came from McLean? How about your banking commissioner? Do you know he's not in banking? Furlough? No, he's an insurance defender. And guess where he came from? McLean, right? Do you know who I reported the Ponzi scheme to in 2007? How about Furlow himself when he was in the AG's office? You know what he said? Sue me. Right. That was in 2007. They went at me in 2008. They knew, and I went after them. None of these pieces fall apart. I know Bill Shaheen. He worked for me. I know Al. He worked for me. I know the players. I know what's done, which is dangerous. These are innocent victims. They got caught in that Ponzi scheme, and there's no question about it. You give this one gentleman immunity who turns around in the text and say the corruption of the state. You changed this state, and the corruption isn't even in this Ponzi scheme. It's through the courts and through these law firms and these politicians. It is connected. Your governor, your 2 senators, your attorney general, they're all lawyers and basically out of 2 law firms. They run this state. Listen, what I'm telling you can be found out. I mean, the thing in horse racing seemed impossible, except for it's all happening. Every single piece of it. I leave here now to talk to Lou Adler. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Lou Adler. He just got Howard Stern in journalism. He knows the importance, and the importance of this committee right here. By voting yes to this, you make them ask questions, which is why this has failed in this committee before, which is why the AG's office has stomped us all the time. They are the cover-up team in this state about everything. I ran victims groups and collected these people. And I met some of the people in FRM. Do you know who most of their attorneys were? Bill Shaheen. Who put Hildreth in? Oh, Gene. You know what Bill told me? He cried and begged for the job. Why do you think he's in Kansas City? You think he's really... How about this? His assistant was Flory. You know what Flory is? The CFO of Granite State Credit Union. Not a dummy. So how did this happen? You know why they wrote the book Cover Up? Because they were afraid it was going to land on his desk. How about that? I've got notes. Richard Head, you've heard him before, the Assistant Attorney General. What if I say it was an interview with an attorney, Susie? The same attorney, Susie, was the attorney for the Banking Commission. Now, you know what those notes said in an interview? That Susie knew in 2003 that attorney Ashley went to her and to Hildreth and said, Gallagher is your good friend. He's representing FRM. And Mr. Hildreth, your brothers are on FRM. Ashley was dismissed shortly afterwards. They knew in 2003 not 6, not 7, and it's in the Assistant Attorney General's own handwriting on an interview with the attorney from the Banking Commission. There's no doubt here. The same attorney tried to get me a job with me. They put spies in my company, and I know this seems outrageous, but what you have to do is think to the depth that these people think, and the control that they have of this state. I am telling you, all you have to do is look. It's not hard to find. It's really not. And that's what I'm telling you. I did look. I did ask the questions. I went to the office in the FBI in Boston. 9:15 they're open till 5 o'clock. Walk-ins welcome. They wouldn't let me in. Right. You know what? This is the worst secret in America. And I'm not giving up. And I'm going to see that the FBI, they just hit a home run. You're going to be reading about it across the country. And I'm driving and parking them in this state. That's a promise. So what I'm asking this committee to do is right or wrong. This isn't people investing their money made a bet. They were robbed by the people we hired to protect us. That's the sign. And why didn't everybody do anything? Because they knew the answer. Everyone knew the answer. How about we give one of them immunity and see how much they sing? I'm working on it. And they're only threatening the lives of my children. What I'm saying is on the internet, on the text messages. They're even telling me how they were going to kill one of my sons. We've got his number and his name, and he's asking for immunity. That's what we do, see? And then we go after the people that caused it, the law firms. And we turn around and have to say, prosecute them and sue them and collect the money that you had to pay for the victims. Not the state. Real simple. I can give you the name. We'll go to Washington, we'll get immunity, and guess what? We just got to buy the ticket and watch the rest of the show. Any questions?
I would have to say that was New Testament.
Yeah, well.
We do have questions. Please.
What's the name of your company?
Mortgage specialist. You know those signs that say,
Very familiar with it.
Shaheen, good. Shaheen guilty of extortion? Well, how about this? I have a controller in my company, worked for me for 30 years. Her husband molested her children. Shaheen was his lawyer. She agreed to work with him. Destroyed evidence, gave me attorneys to use that work for them. What I'm saying is right out there. I've said it, no one say I'm wrong. When I put all these things on the sign, listen, they've been known to sue people. Anybody suing me? No. I wonder why. Right? I work under a license. I call Peter Hildreth and Furlow criminals. Anybody taking my license? That's right. All I've got is a little insight and a lot of truth.